Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Graduate School of International Studies at Korea University, let me welcome you all and open our House of GSIS. My name is Jung, and I'm currently current Associate Dean of GSIS. And well, when I was preparing for this event, I was very excited to read many questions from some of you. And while going over with your questions, I have decided to divide today's events into two sessions. And first session, we raised 5 questions of ours. And these questions are raised as a way to touch upon some of your questions, and also to give you a better idea of who we are and what we do. And second session, I entitled Actions. And this session is designed to give you an opportunity to meet our professors, my colleagues, and so that you can explore majors. Let's start the session 1. First question. Why international studies? For this particular question, I asked the former Associate Dean, Professor Porter, to give you an answer. And he kindly accepted my offer. So I'd like to invite the Professor Porter. Let's welcome Professor Porter.
Thank you very much. On behalf of myself and the Dean who's unable to join us today, I would like to extend my heartfelt welcome for joining us today and our genuine thanks and appreciation that you are actively considering our program because we think it's the right one for most of you. So when I was a young adult, sort of in the same shoes as you, I used to think the world was a little bit boring, and it was. The 1980s and 90s was a pretty quiet time in global history, right? The Vietnam War was over, the oil crises were over, things were pretty calm, at least in America, and pretty stable. And I was like, well, the world, it's a little bit boring. I wish it was a little more interesting. Today, as we know, the world is changing incredibly rapidly, and I'm no longer so sure that I want it to be this interesting. We have changing geopolitical orientation of the globe. We have environmental catastrophe facing us at every turn. You just had to be here this summer in Korea to appreciate that. We've just come through, or we're still dealing with the aftermath of zoonotic diseases that have been transferred to humans with coronavirus, and there's a promise of more to come. And of course, we have automation, artificial intelligence, and roboticization that are changing the way that we manufacture things and are changing global value chains and production chains, and which will have significant effects on the development potential of lower income countries going forward. And so to face these new challenges, we need a new kind of professional. And we hope that's you. We need professionals who can critically and ethically evaluate the challenges that we're facing and will continue to face. Professionals who are able to contribute not only their own individual expertise, but to be able to communicate across multiple expertise. This is one of the biggest difficulties facing much of our policy-making environment, is that people don't understand what other policy specialists are trying to say and why they have the values and make the suggestions that they do. So we need people who can understand across disciplines. And that's one of the major things that international studies in general and our program in particular can do for you. And so, you know, before I give it over back to the current Associate Dean, let me just say, you know, we are again pleased that you're considering us, and we really hope that we'll see you.
Thank you, Professor Porter. Concise yet very powerful reason for you to consider international studies seriously. Okay, thank you. And shall we move to the next question? Why KU GSIS? Yes, why KU GSIS? Well, the first is offer tailored program for your professional development. Each student can curate their own curriculum, so you can chart your own courses to fulfill your individual visions. And all courses will be taught in English. Students are come from around the world. This is the most recent data. Currently, close to 300 students are from the close to 60 countries. So we offer very internationalized and globalized academic atmosphere, so that you can form a more comparative perspective. Further facilitate your individual professional developments. We, out of the regular curriculum, we organize various lectures, workshops, and other events. As you can see, the first from the left, your side, first and the third events designed to provide in-depth knowledge of what's going on around the world right now, international affairs. Whereas second and fourth events organized to help you to develop more on-site, on-the-ground skills, practical skills. For example, the latest one, far right one, is entitled "What Skills Are Needed to Work in International Organization." So as you can see, lectures and workshops are happening, and we try to balance to meet the needs for you to develop in-depth knowledge about the particular area, but at the same time build up the practical skills so that you can effectively develop a career in the future. Personally believe, I think this is the most obvious reason to me why you want to seriously consider study with us. We have world-class faculty, more than 50 lectures, 23 full-time professors, and some of my colleagues are very active in publishing books in internationally well-known publishers. By the way, these are just really a few selections out of many more books and many more articles in the well-known international journals. I selected these because these were the most recently published one. So some are actively publishing, some are really actively making speeches, presenting papers, researches on the developing events. These, as you can see, the faculty members are really active in both domestic and global stages in presenting their ideas, experiences. And as I said in the beginning, the second session is designed to experience the obvious, so you can have a chance to meet some of my colleagues more questions. We have a very robust student council, Korean and international students, and they organize various events as well to not only to support your academic life, but also campus life and more cultural life, I hear. Okay, what can I learn at KU GSIS? Yes, I think this diagram sums up our program really well. Top left, MA program. Under the MA program, we have these 5 majors. And for more detailed information, I think in the chatting room now is available, but you can also check our homepage. On your right top, it's a PhD program. And we usually, up to this semester, we have only 2 majors, international commerce and international relations. But from the next semester, we're going to add 2 more majors, international development and Korean studies. So we are very excited to launch these 2 majors and expand our PhD program. Bottom left, under the dual and exchange programs, these programs are designed to facilitate your pursuit of MA and PhD program by offering you to explore additional academic experience outside of Korea University. So as you can see, our partner schools our partner universities are in Asia, in the US, and in Europe. So you can have additional experience in the foreign universities, and special programs are particularly designed to support these dual and exchange programs by providing some financial support like a Campus Asia Plus support your exploring of for example Kobe and Fudan University. EU Center will support the studies in Europe. And this local conflict BK21 is supporting part of the dual exchange program. I like to emphasize that our faculty members really make a great effort to secure some of the financial support, which leads to the first question: how can I pay for my KU GSIS? There are scholarship and work opportunities for Korean students. The university as a whole provides a scholarship for outstanding students. Some of you may have a TA and RA scholarship, work closely with the professors. And as I mentioned, this BK21 and Campus Asia Plus is more nationalized scholarship. The professors secured. So these are for scholarship and work opportunity for the Korean students, but for the international student as well, we try to provide scholarships. There is a university scholarship, international scholarship. And if you are a part of a KGSB student, of course you have a KGSB scholarship. And the BK21 and Campus Asia Plus scholarships are also available to international students. There are scholarships and work opportunities for you to finance your higher education. Okay, what can I do with my KU GSIS? This is an open-ended question. Therefore, the answer is still evolving, but based on some collected data, this is not a complete data. I like to emphasize. Based on the data so far, many of postgraduate entered private firm, as you can see, but some went to a public institution, some went to international NGO, INGOs, or domestic NGOs. Some decide to pursue further education, perhaps another degree in different specialty. Others decide to directly engage in education sector. So as I said, it's evolving, but postgraduate job placement is currently showing like this. And on your left, those are the names of the companies and some institute or domestic institute, but also international. Before I close session 1, I like to give you some tips for how you can prepare for the application. And these are based on our years of selection process. Really highlight the fact that we take your statement of a purpose very seriously. I advise you to invest some time and effort of yours to develop effective statement of a purpose. For tips, there are some don'ts and do's, as you can see. And this is based on our experience, decades of experience. And you don't want to tell how diligent you are or how hardworking you are, because we know, okay? The other don'ts, please don't simply summarize contents you already written down in the elsewhere of application. For example, I graduate this university doing this major. We already know. Instead of spending time on those questions, please try to explain what makes you unique. In other words, tell your own story. But I want you to limit the theme of your own story into the academic ones, okay? And in order to do that, suggest that you want to really clearly identify what you want to learn in GSIS, and probably more importantly, and I think if you can answer this question successfully, maybe that will lead to really unique statement of purpose. That is why you want to study this particular topics or area of research. Try to answer those questions. What do I want to study in depth? And why do I want to study? And if you combine these questions success and provide some answers successfully, I am confident that your SOP really triggers our interest and be a successful SOP. If you while you're preparing for this, you want to check our former associate dean's personal websites. This one is as you can see at the bottom, specifically designed to help you to come up with a better SOP. So these are the tips for your preparation. And with that note, I like to close session 1. Before we divide into small rooms, we really thanks for your interest. And as associate dean, former associate dean mentioned, we really look forward to see you on campus in the near future. Okay. Yes. Let's move on to session 2.
So there are many seminars and lectures, so we also provide. And then you can also participate in various internships, projects, and research led by your professors or our professors. So that's a brief introduction of IDC of GSIS. So if you are more interested about GSIS, I will be happy to answer to your question, me and Professor Kos.
I would, for what it is, I would just add a little 자랑스러운 말, a little bit of self-promotion here. Yeah. It's my belief that our IDC program is the strongest in Korea. I think we have the greatest breadth and depth of professors and resources compared to other institutions.
And also our graduates work for KUICA and Exim Bank, of course, but at the same time, there are a number of graduates who are working for they participate in the programs like KMCO, KUICA Multilateral Cooperation Officer, and the JPO, Junior Professional Officers. So I think this is a good opportunity for you to, as a graduate school student, to improve your theoretical knowledge and also take this opportunity to have a more practical experiences.
안녕하세요, 교수님.
네.
Good afternoon.
네.
예, 제가 아직 정한 건 아닌데,
네.
thesis track이랑 non-thesis track이 혹시 많이 다를까 하는, 그러니까 정확하게 어떻게 다른지 프로그램에서 좀 여쭤보고 싶습니다.
우선 thesis track을 하면 이제 논문을 써서 졸업을 하는 거고, non-thesis를 할 경우에는 논문을 작성하시는 대신에 수업을 더 추가적으로 수강하셔야 되거든요. 근데 그 추가로 수강하셔야 되는 수업이 how many courses do they have to take more in order to take the
I think it was 3.
Yeah. You just have to, there are 6 credits that count towards the thesis. And so If you don't do a thesis, you need to take basically 6 credits, which is 2 classes.
개인적으로 석사 과정에 들어왔으면 논문을
네.
쓰는 것을 굉장히 추천하거든요. 물론 여기서 배우는 지식들도 중요하지만 연구를 하는 능력을 키우는 게 석사 과정에서는 굉장히 중요한 역량이라고 생각하기 때문에 되도록 또 논문을 쓰시는 게 좋지 않을까 생각합니다.
The thesis is a big thing for me. I can't recommend writing a thesis enough. Both because, as Professor Kang suggested, not only does it allow you to build research skills, those research skills are skills that apply in almost any job. It's hard to imagine, but if you're doing interviews, you have to cold call people, which can be an important skill. You have to be able to conceive of a problem and define a problem, develop a strategy for addressing that question that you've identified. These are all like super important skills for any job that you're going to want to do later on. And additionally, well, 2 things I would say. One is that to the extent that you do interviews and you contact professionals, it's a sneaky way to build a network that you can tap into when you're looking for work, right? So if you
That's right.
interview government officials or what have you, and then, you know, this is what I recommend, then at the end of your thesis, you send them an email saying, thank you so much for your help. I really appreciated it. Here, you can download a copy of my thesis from this link. And by the way, I'm on the market for a job. So if you happen to know of anything, you know, that I would be appropriate for, I would love to hear it, right? Because this quite often, believe it or not, is the way that people do get jobs.
Yeah, I mean, Professor, I'm so surprised that you said that because that's how I got a job at KUICA. So I did the interview for my master's degree when I was a student at Waseda. And then I interviewed with 이사님, the director of KUICA. It's a surprising that he accepted my interview request from the first place. Anyways, I interviewed, and then by the time I was about to graduate, he emailed me saying that, you know, we are looking for a person in this post. Why don't you apply? So that's how I got a job at KUICA. So we highly encourage you.
Yeah. I mean, and it's there's a famous sociology article by Granovetter on the strength of weak ties that explains this. That's a great story. I didn't know. And the third reason I would suggest.
Third reason.
There's even more reason to write a thesis, because I know writing a thesis can seem daunting, and it's not easy. There's no question. It's a challenge. It's, you know, if you do it right, it's more work than a regular class. But I just deeply believe that the benefits outweigh the extra cost. And one of those things is that every one of you is going to have a specialization and a unique interest that's going to be a little bit different from any of our faculty, right? I mean, we all have our specialties. We all can address quite a range. I mean, and again, this is why I think our program is so strong, is that we can address so many different topics, but we can't necessarily address, you know, the exact topic that you want or the precise niche that you want in our classes or in our, you know, our own research. And so the thesis is an opportunity for each and every one of you to really research something that is important to you and unique to you, and to ultimately be able to brand yourself as a unique thinker with a unique specialization, which again will, I mean, not only be personally rewarding, but should also help you in the job market. You know, so again, I can't recommend enough that you just bite the bullet and write a thesis.
Yes.
When you're done, you'll appreciate it.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
There's another question. Good.
If there is no one asking,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
love to. Yeah. So just in case, I've almost decided in my mind, but just in case, I heard from last open house, Professor Cosporter did. You said in order to get BK21 scholarship, you need to take thesis track, right? Is it?
Mm.
Am I correct?
Yes.
So
Yes, that's
is there
correct.
any scholarship for non-thesis track too? Just in case.
Non-thesis track.
Yes, there are. And we do have other financial resources that don't require writing a thesis. It's only the BK21 program that requires writing a thesis. And you can see Professor Han, I don't think emphasized this enough, but our website has just a wealth of information. And there's one page that really goes deep into detail about all of the available scholarships that we have right now. And as Professor Kang knows exceptionally well, we're working hard on establishing a new source of funding for people who are interested in Southeast Asia. Nothing is guaranteed, but with under Professor Kang's guidance, I think we've got a good chance.
TA나 RA에 지원하셔도 괜찮고요. 그다음에 성적이 우수하시면 또 지원해주는 스칼러십이 또 있고요. 그다음에 뭐 액티비티별로 또 지원하실 수 있는 뭐 예를 들면은 지금은 조금 예전만큼 지원 액수가 큰지 모르겠지만 GPAS라고 해서 동남아시아에 가서 연구를 하시고 싶으면 이제 짧은 기간 다녀오실 수 있도록 지원해주는 그런 사업도 있습니다. 다양한 것이 있으니까 한번 홈페이지 확인해 보시면 될 것 같아요.
네, 감사합니다.
네.
Yeah, I have some questions if the integrated program is still available.
Integrated.
So which program?
The integrated, the master PhD of 5 years.
Oh.
The integration was that I know of is BA/MA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, for us, as far as I know, unless there's something I'm unaware of, the MA is a separate degree from the PhD. So you have to complete that and then apply, which is, I mean, if I'm missing something, feel free to email me. I'm happy to figure that out for you. And especially, sorry, in international studies and policy, it's quite often not the case because these are considered professional degrees, right? And so in academic degrees, if you're doing like political science or economics, it's quite common to combine the two, at least in US universities. And yeah, but here we don't do that I know of.
So Jungmin asked, I'm curious about what are the most common jobs, common field of jobs that you can get after majoring in IDC. So I think I don't have the statistics, but I've been here almost 10 years. And from my experience, many students work for research centers of the public institutions. Like if you are interested in education, they will go to like a Korean Education Development Institute, and they may work in the IDC department of the KD, or they go to Korean Development Institute. Within that, they also have IDC department. So many of them go to research, like a public research center, and then within there is a IDC department. And then also a number of students go to NGOs. It could be domestic NGOs, but also global NGOs. And then also, as you know, that the size of ODA is increasing, so the number of consulting firms in the field of IDC is also increasing. So I think the demands for the IDC experts is going to increase drastically within few years. So I think you will have more opportunities. There will be more job opportunities for these kind of private consulting firms and also public institutions and as well as NGOs. I know that the major ones are KOICA and Exim Bank, and I heard that every year they have a public competition to select the like a tenure, like not tenure track, but full-time employees. And then that number was, I heard that it was about 10 to 15 before, but I heard that they're also going to increase this number of people. But we don't have to limit our, just looking at the KOICA and Exim Bank. I think it's too narrow. I think you can expand your eyes and find more jobs at the private consulting firms. And also one of my students said that he got the job at the Samsung later, and he said he could when he did the job interview, he presented about corporate social responsibility, which we talk about it in IDC. And that was something that these large corporations are highly interested in these days. So some of them go to private large corporations as well. But also, I also encourage students to apply for international organizations job postings. I know that, getting a tenure track full-time jobs at the international organization is not easy, and growingly they are offering more like a contract-based. They are recruiting contract-based employees, but still I think having that experience is very valuable. So you can get a job at the Korea stationed international organizations. One of them is located in the 4th floor of this building, International Studies Hall, UNDP, and also like APSEU and other international organizations are also located in Korea. So that could be one option. And I always encourage students to apply for internship in the international organizations outside Korea too. You can start off as interns, but if your engaged project is not completed by the time your contract ends, then you can extend your contract by being hired as a consultant. Then, you can also, extend your contract in that way, consultant to analysts and so on. So that's another way to stay and work as an international organization employee. I hope that answered to that question. Do you want me, is there any other question regarding this job opportunities, Jungmin? Okay, good.
Yeah, I would just add, I have one of my former master's students who is now, she got a job at, just like Professor Kang described, at the Korean Institute of Public Finance, where she worked on trying to bring Korean public finance programs to, Rwanda in particular, but to developing countries. So I would just emphasize that two things there. I wasn't going to do it, but I will, just because it's exciting, I guess. That just to emphasize what Professor Gang said is, one is that especially in a place like Korea, every ministry, every government agency has somebody who does development. And so, there are a lot of perhaps less immediately visible opportunities available for those who are able to look at it and look for it. And it's the same thing for the corporate sector, which is that any large firm has a division where they're concerned with social responsibility or sort of charity and this kind of stuff, which also often involves development oriented projects.
Right.
So it's good that you have to be a little, if you widen your concept of what constitutes working in IDC, I think there's a lot more opportunity available than many people seem to think.
And then Kevin asked, are KU GSI graduate students in their late 30s or early 40s as well? I'm curious if age is a hindrance to enrollment here. Yeah, I think Professor Potter can also answer to this. I think there are people in their late 30s. There's no hindrance. I know. If you are applying to PhD, maybe we will ask like, what is your future plan? But other than, for masters, I don't think there is any hindrance. Is there?
We have plenty of people in their late 30s, early 40s. We have one current student who worked for, I shouldn't give out too many details, but worked for, a global consulting company in the Philippines, for years, and decided that she wanted to make a sort of career shift. And so she's enrolled here now, and she's beyond, I think she is beyond the age range that you just mentioned. And so certainly in the master's program, it's not been an issue. For PhD, to be totally transparent, sometimes it has been an issue. It shouldn't be, I don't think. But sometimes people have concerns about not in the 30s or 40s though.
Early 40s still young.
I'm just thinking big picture here. Yeah, exactly. Heck, I didn't even get my PhD until I was in my early 40s. So
So I actually enjoy having people with a lot of experience, not like meaning a lot of experience in the field of IDC, but they have their own experience that they can link with what we discuss. So that's no problem.
I would emphasize that it's true that my personal belief is that you get even more out of a master's degree if you do have some experience in the work world or whatever, even if it's not directly IDC oriented, because then you often have a much better understanding of what you're trying to get out of your education, and and oftentimes more drive.
Okay, Hejin asked, I wonder how many ESG related subjects I can learn in IDC major. So ESG is a kind of broad concept. It includes environment, social, and governance. So if we try, we can link this concept with all the courses we offer. So I don't think I can tell you how many we have, but definitely there are courses that talk about CSR, CSB, corporate social volunteer, and ESG directly. I can't tell you how many, and it depends on the semester as well. But then there are courses that are directly linked. But then at the same time, we have courses that talk about governance, that courses we talk mainly about climate change or water or energy, which is all related with the environment, right? And then related with social, that will be education, that will be related with gender. So we do have all these courses. As long as you understand what ESG is like looking for, how the corporates are measured, or the more important thing is what kind of elements we have to consider in each sector, right? So you can link after taking ESG courses by taking these specific sector-specific courses to understand the concept better.
That we also have quite a number of human rights classes, some of which directly address those ESG and CSR concerns. And I would suggest, and maybe you don't know particularly now, but personally, I would advise thinking a little more narrowly than ESG, because ESG itself is such a huge wide range of subjects that there's no, I don't see a way personally to sort of specialize in ESG, except insofar as you might look at how firms implement ESG projects. If it's the sort of operational piece, looking at ESG in general is good. But if it's the substantive piece, if it's the content that you're concerned about, I would recommend that you focus more closely on, environmental concerns of some kind or other, or governance more broadly, or human rights, or what have you. I think you'd get more out of your degree and have more opportunities later on, right? So, and just as a general piece of advice, no matter where you all go, right, you want to, again, tied to the thesis or whatever, but you want to have you want to have your specialization, and you want to be able to convey to potential employers that you are specialized in a particular niche, but you also want to be able to frame that within a broader category, right? So, in the contemporary period, especially in Korea, right, you might want to specialize in, say, water and sanitation, but when you talk to a potential employer or write cover letters, you might want to position it as, as ESG, right? Because, and as a particular specialization and focus of knowledge within ESG, right? So you need to, in a sense, you need to appeal on both a very narrow, specific level and in a broad sort of categorical sort of way, I guess.
Hi everyone. Sorry for not turning on the camera, but it's 5 a.m. here.
Oh,
A bit
okay.
too early.
Okay, thank you for participating.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon. Hi. I was wondering if you have any specific tips for PhD applications, and especially if you would advise to contact professor that we're interested in working with before the application.
Right, as Professor Han had said in the presentation, right, it's important to tell us why you want to study and what you're hoping to study. And we know that things will change over time, but any application is going to be better if you have some sort of focus, that you can demonstrate that you have some kind of knowledge of the area that you think you want to go into, right? And so even if you have to fake it, right? Even if it's like, well, I'm not sure this is exactly what I want to do, but it's better to spin a little bit of a story for us on your application. I mean, you didn't hear it from me, but it's better to spin a little bit of a story and demonstrate that you have some background knowledge and some sort of, reasonably, clear direction to go into. That will help any application, especially at the master's level. But the PhD level, you, at least here, unlike some of the, I think like many US universities anyway, that I'm more familiar with, you need to go a little bit further and suggest really, do more to demonstrate. You need to do more to demonstrate that you have some background already, and that you have a clear and kind of concrete question that you're thinking about, right? So I think in general, if I can try to be, I'm oversimplifying here, but at the master's level, it's kind of sufficient to suggest, these are the kind of issues that I'm concerned about, and this is why. But at the PhD level, it's not only am I concerned about this issue, but I'm concerned about this part of the issue, and this aspect of the issue is what I want to explore. It's, how does, government structure determine redistributive policies for water supply, or something like this, right? And you will, on a PhD application, you'll want to suggest some tentative data sets or ways of collecting data and processing data. if, I mean, it's not absolutely certain that you have to have that in your application, but if it's not in your if it is in your application, your chances of passing the first screening are going to be higher. And if it's not in your application and you pass the first screening, you will be asked anyway in the interview.
Yeah.
So, so you'll want to have that.
Yeah.
And
So,
if you have
That's
further
great.
questions, I'm happy you can email me or what have you.
yeah. It is better to choose a topic that you are familiar with for your application procedure, especially. So maybe under the big theme, you can change the direction a bit after getting accepted. But for your interview and for your research plan, choose the topic that you are familiar with. Yeah, I think that's the tip that I can give you.
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin asked, Professor Han mentioned that it's important to include my own story in SOP. Is it a good approach to include unique professional experience or volunteer work done abroad in addition to academic achievement? If you have one, of course. I mean, Professor Potter, do you want to answer to his question?
Yes, I mean, I think it's good to include some of these things. What I think is personally, the way I think the strongest statements of purpose work is by finding a way to sort of stitch these things into a narrative, right? So, I mean, so broadly, yes, but it might be that some international experiences or professional experiences that you've had won't be relevant to the story you want to tell, right?
Yeah.
And again, I mean, and again, maybe I'm again too transparent here, but I think when at least this was my strategy when I was applying. So I can't say that it works all the time, but it worked okay for me. Is that this is your statement of purpose is really kind of an opportunity to reflect on your life and sort of stitch it into a narrative that maybe builds a little bit of consistency in one's life, right? And different people have different levels of consistency, of course. I had very little, quite frankly. So it was a work of art stitching it all together in a narrative. But we do want to, but it's a good exercise, and if you do it well, it definitely helps your application. And again, we like to see, how you see your own experiences as connecting and informing the direction that you're looking at toward right now.
Yeah, because we already know that you have if you have a professional experience work abroad, from looking at the before SOP, we look at your career experience, right? So SOP, you don't have to, as Professor Han said, you don't have to repeat what's been said before. It's more like, as Professor Potter said, connecting the dots of your history, and then tell us, so what is essence of your life, like what do we have to know that is not mentioned previously. Thank you so much. So this is our brief introduction of our IDC program. Thank you very much for being interested in our program. So if you want to become an expert in IDC and become an attractive candidate in the job market, I will hope to see you in September at GSIS. September? No, March.
No, March.
March at GSIS. Okay. So thank you very much.
Same.
Right. Welcome to the breakout session for international relations. And well, I believe that you are interested in studying at GSIS for many different reasons, but international relations is one of the areas in which KU GSIS has real strength. And we pursue an array of topics ranging from many different agendas in international security affairs to international political economy, to questions of national security policy, to national economic policies, as well as issues of international governance, or let me say global governance, as well as foreign policies of a number of prominent countries around the globe. So there are definitely an array of topics we concentrate on. And also we examine these different agendas from many different empirical, or let me say methodological perspectives. So there are many things that could be pursued once you join GSIS. But without further ado, I would like to basically organize this session as a Q&A session, during which you can ask, well, basically any questions to me or to other faculty who fortunately could make the meeting today. So anyone, please feel free to, jump up and ask any questions. Quite a few of you are interested in what kind of courses and trainings are available here at GSIS. And as I mentioned, well, we cover basically all major agendas in international relations. So as you can see here, Professor Jung is a specialist in international political economy, as well as diverse questions of public policy and the environmental issues. Whereas if you haven't heard about Professor Kim Sung-han, well, there's an issue with you. So he's the figure in the making and implementation of Korean foreign policy, as well as the overall international affairs in general. With regard to the methodological approach, we are definitely in pursuit of methodological pluralism. So we do encourage students to get, say, better acquainted with, at least, with the, say, more of the recent methodologies, such as the statistical approaches, as well as experimental approaches in the study of international affairs. But nonetheless, we do offer training opportunities to develop and apply your analytic skills, employing a more traditional case study methods, as well as the, say, skills to analyze diverse archival materials as well. And it is also important to note many of those methodological trainings are not only available here at the GSIS, but also you can utilize the resources Korea University-wise to make yourself more prepared with regard to the analytical skills that could be of use in your academic career as well as in other activities.
Thank you very much for your sharing. I am a undergraduate student studying in Japan. I am a Korean national, and I am very interested in Korea University GSIS's program. So thank you for your sharing. And I have some questions regarding the regarding two things. So the first question is about the thesis topics written by the Korea University GSIS seniors. May I ask, like, what kind of topics were analyzed and studied by this school's seniors? That's my first question. And my second question is about the research opportunities provided by GSIS, in particular, like particularly for this major international relations security. So it would be really nice if I can hear more information regarding these 2 points. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for breaking the ice. I was really looking forward to a straightforward question like that. So about the first question, I can definitely say, well, the topics are really, wide-ranging. Some students, even if they are commonly interested in international security affairs, some students are investigating some of those very classic security issues like military alliances. And some students are examining more recent, but nonetheless important topics like the increasing presence of China in Nordic regions of the world. So what kind of activities China is doing and their implications to the Nordic countries. And still others will be interested in investigating what will be the security implication of human rights issues. And environmental issues definitely is today's one of the critical issues with regard to our very existence. So what I can say is that, well, the topic is basically entirely open. That's actually one of the key advantages of the GSIS. we don't have a very, let me say, limited, say, scope or analytical domain with regard to our topic. And about your second question about the trainings and research opportunities in the topics of international security. So broadly speaking, I think you can think of, say, your study in the theoretical or academic dimension of the international security studies, and the other will be more practical dimension. So in terms of theoretical dimension, I think there are definitely plenty of courses which is offered here at the GSIS. But if you would like to, you can go and take other courses in places like political science department or anywhere else in Korean University or outside of Korean University. So there are exchange programs that are available in and outside of Korea, through which you can definitely accumulate your knowledge about diverse aspects of international security affairs. With regard to the practical dimension, which I think is more closely related with doing say, some of your, say, collaborated research with faculty or others or in research institutions. And you need to note that there are quite a few prominent research institutes here at the GSIS, as well as closely related with the GSIS. So we do have the center devoted to the affairs of Europe, EU Center, right? And we do have the institute that is particularly interested in understanding many different dimensions of local conflicts, as well as something that has global implication. And we do have a good relationship with Korean university-wide institutions like the Ilmin International Relations Institute, where you can search for diverse research opportunities, as well as collaboration with other leading scholars as well as students. Hope this answered your questions.
If I add one more, even if I was living for about 1.5 years for the past, as soon as I came back to campus, many students asked about such topics as economic security. Nowadays, we are witnessing US-China competition with regard to technologies, global supply chain, etc., etc. So economic security is emerging topic many students are interested in. So as a former national security advisor, I myself devoted a lot of attention and spent a lot of time on economic security related issues with many surrounding countries, even in Europe, such as the Netherlands. So this is a kind of a newly emerging topic many students are interested in, as a footnote. Okay.
Thank you. I am actually writing an undergraduate thesis regarding the point that you just mentioned, but it's going to be like very specific to the semiconductors case studies. So I think I am like one of the students who's interested in those topics too. Thank you very much.
Okay, sounds great. Welcome.
Maybe I can add just one little note on what Professor Kim Sung-han has just mentioned as the rising hot topic, such as the economic security. So to better understand issues like economic security, we need to have both economic and political knowledge, right? So traditional departments like political science or economics have significant problems in accounting for a phenomenon like economic security, which is in its essence an area where economy and security are deeply intertwined. So you need to know both economics and international relations or international security. We can do that only in GSIS. Let me add that point as another footnote.
예, 안녕하십니까. 네, 저는 현재 공군 통역장교로 복무 중인 최건주 중이라고 합니다. 우선 이렇게 좋은 자리를 마련해 주셔서 이렇게 여쭤볼 수 있는 기회를 갖게 해주셔서 너무 감사합니다. 제가 1시에 또 근무가 이제 있어서 갑작스럽게 제가 퇴장하더라도 양해해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 제가 어제 유선상으로도 이제 국제대학원에 문의를 했었는데요. 입시 요강을 보면은 현역 군인인데 자비로 수학을 희망하는 사람은 부서장의 이제 승인을 받고 이제 승인서를 이제 제출을 같이 별도로 해줘야 된다고 들었습니다. 제가 그래서 여쭤보고 싶은 게 현역으로 복무를 하면서 이제 국제대학원을 수학하고 있는 사람들이 있는지 그 부분에 대해서 좀 여쭙고 싶었습니다. 네.
제가 그 부분에 대해서는 좀 정확하고 확답을 드리기는 조금 문제가 있을 것 같습니다. 그런데 제 생각으로는 기본적으로 이 현역 군인분들이 이 대학원을 진학하시는 데에는 원칙적으로는 문제가 없을 것이라고 믿고 있고요. 다만 이 구체적인 내용은 지금 제가 이메일 주소를 하나 보내드릴 텐데요. 이쪽으로 이제 문의를 해보시면은 정확한 정보를 얻으실 수 있을 겁니다.
I feel a little old. I think I'm older than the other interested people. My question is, I know my area of interest, but I don't know specifically what my thesis topic is going to be or what I want it to be. So could you kind of describe, that scenario? Like, how do you, because you said it's tailored courses, but how do you shepherd someone and guide a student towards a good thesis topic or help them develop their thesis topic? What's the particular strategies you might use for that situation?
I think I should begin. And well, that's actually a very good question. And you are supposed to ask questions like that quite openly and definitely quite freely. And we are here to answer those questions. To begin with, well, it's quite good to not have a straightforward research topic once you join an MA program. I assume you are pursuing an MA degree, right? PhD degree? Oh, right, that is even better. And the thing is that if you join the PhD program, well, almost everyone changes their topic. Right? And well, actually, if you don't change the topic, that means you didn't learn quite anything through the graduate learn program. So you can accumulate more, theoretical or historical knowledge, or you can acquire new analytical skills, which would direct your research, focus in one direction to another. So it might be okay to just come to join a PhD program with a broad agenda, right? If you're interested in, issues of nuclear security, fine. Come here and design your own research topics with more specific research questions in years to come. If you want to understand the implication of rising economic security issues, fine. Come and learn more about economics as well as international security and acquire more analytical skills like statistical techniques, and then formulate your research question in years to come. If you're interested in more of the, say, issues of global importance, such as the public health issues and its security implications, again, it's very fine. Come and take courses where scholars from different backgrounds can offer you trainings in diverse theoretical and methodological frameworks, and you formulate your specific research question. So the coursework, and of course, other activities you do at the GSIS is basically helping you to better formulate your research question. But notwithstanding these points, well, again, everyone changes their topic. Okay? Someone might have joined the PhD program to study questions of regional economic cooperation, but eventually ended up with studying US military strategy, which is my case. And someone I know joined a PhD program to study alliance politics, but who ended up with writing China's protectionist policies, which is the one of the case I know from a very close person. So as such, well, you're supposed to, evolve as you pursue your career at a graduate program. So it's entirely okay to not to have a very specific research topic. What really matters is your, resolve. And we even offered an extensive, material resources, which would assist you to somewhat, safely engage in your academic activities without, let me say, but worrying less about many, questions of maintaining your standard of living. I hope these are helpful for your answer.
I think my question is a little more interested on the role the professors play as well. So it's one thing to say that students change their topics, but how much, for example, in your examples, how much did you work with that student to change their topic? Like, was it just independent, or it was more collaboration? Is kind of my question.
Actually, I cannot offer a straightforward answer because it depends. But professors, including myself and others, would definitely help you to think about a range of different topics, right? We will often suggest you, hey, this is an interesting idea. Hey, this is a rising field. Or conversely, we might say, you should reconsider that topic. And as such, we do, we'll say, thoroughly and carefully guide you to a certain direction. Or maybe through more casual discussions, we might help you to formulate your research topics and ideas in different ways. So again, interactions can take many different shapes, but nonetheless can help you to streamline your thoughts and pinpoint your research topic. And in my case, again, you might not have a clear-cut research topic, but in my experience, I didn't have a really clear-cut PhD thesis for about 2 years, but it just came overnight, actually just about 30 minutes over lunch. And that's how things can turn out. So what, again, matters is your broad agenda and resolve.
Going back to Chris's question about not having a research question at the start of your PhD program, I think I agree with Professor Kim that it's probably a good thing, because having a concrete research question already in the beginning of the PhD program might even be counterproductive, because it's very likely that you came up with the question without having a very solid knowledge of the existing literature. So when you come, I think you're together with your supervisor, you will read a lot more studies in the relevant field and learn how to identify the gaps in the existing literature. And from your broad research interest, you then will be able to formulate your research question that is the one that's actually a contributing one to the existing body of literature. So that process it can be long for some people. I was in a similar situation with Professor Kim, that I came up with my proposal topic during the 3rd year of my PhD program, but it was fine, right? So I think what's important will be to have this attitude of enjoying learning and being exposed to new ideas. So as long as you have that, I think you should be fine.
May I ask one additional question?
Great, please.
Yes, so this question is rather specific to the courses offered in this major. I believe this is the International Relations Security major, but according to the course description, it seems like this major also discusses the issues of human rights related things. And I was wondering if how the courses are, the courses related to human rights are like in this program, if that makes sense. Thank you.
As long as human rights are concerned, we have quite a few courses and the internships about that particular subject. Professor Sunkyoung, he is the leading scholar about that particular subject. So he himself had created some courses related to the human rights. He himself has kind of an NGO which is called the Human Asia. Also, he's involved in the UN Human Rights Agency activities. So that is one thing. And also we have another faculty whose name is Sunkyoung. He's also very much interested in human rights, in addition to climate change. So you have two faculty members with several courses relevant to human rights, not just in North Korea, on the Korean Peninsula, but also in the Pacific region as a whole. So it has attracted many students. They have been enjoying internship programs in Geneva or in New York. So I think this is the right place for human rights interested students to study.
Actually, I did have a follow-up question to Minhwa here. I think you, Professor Lim kind of answered my question, but I'd like to get it confirmed. One of the issues I also had looking at the three different majors is, you know, the checkbox for what areas I have experience in, which is international climate change governance. That was in different parts of the different majors, but the governance part is relations. So you just said that the actual track doesn't really matter that much, but I really just want to like confirm like just how open is it between the three different tracks, because I think kind of my area is all three in some ways, and you know, how much is it focused versus how much is it flexible?
For one, I think you need to take certain amount of courses that is related to that specializations. That's I think one thing that you should have in mind, because if you want to get, say, an IC degree, IDC degree, IPS degree, you should fulfill that electives requirement. But when it comes to choosing a supervisor and working with professors, I had students from all three different specializations, from IC, from IDC, from IPS. And I don't really care that much about what courses they took before they chose me as supervisor, as long as they took my course and was a good student in my course. And then I let them choose a topic often of their own interest. So I guess there are some required things that you need to do to fulfill the course requirements, especially when it comes to electives, or masters at least. But when it comes to your research and your pursuit of an academic collaboration with our faculty members, the divisions matter less.
Okay, I think our session has proceeded really nicely. But before I wrap up the breakout meeting, it's definitely free for you to ask any question at this point. Or if you have any follow-up question, you can definitely feel free to contact directly one of the faculties with whom you are interested in working with, or you can contact the administrative office with regard to many logistical issues that you might have. So I think the email address that I'm putting here on the chat window, this one is the address to which you can direct your logistical questions. But if you have any questions with regard to a research topic, and we are all here for that. Right? So please feel free to contact us, and we are going to answer you promptly. Okay, and then we're going to stop here. And again, thanks for joining us today. And we do look forward to seeing your application, which is quite soon enough.
Okay, so how about this? I will briefly explain the topics or the field, three of our professor in this area and Korean studies field, and really briefly, and then we will have longer time to get your questions and give some helpful answers. Okay, so my major is political science, focused on the Korean case. So basically, I look my research interest is Korean democracy or Korean political change from authoritarian regime to the democratic regimes and some contemporary issues of Korean politics and Korean societies. And then recently, I got a lot of new students are interested in the Korean generations, younger generations, and gender issues, and any new conflict issue regarding the Korean societies. So these are the general topic I studied. And maybe Professor Kim-Eun-gi, can you just a little bit explain of your research topics and interests?
My research largely focuses on Korean culture, particularly religion, and like Christianity, civil religion, and liberation theology. A book on Christianity just came out last year. I was disappointed that my book was not featured in one
I'm sorry. You didn't send me a copy. That's one of the reasons.
No, I'm just kidding. And the course I teach in the GSIS is contemporary Korea. So anyone majoring in Korean studies has to be part of my class. I don't know if that's a blessing, but I don't know what else I could say. For my PhD, I majored in sociology. So that's my training sort of background. And well, that's about it.
Thank you, Professor Kim. Actually, I want to tell you that Professor Kim Eun-gi's work is really highly cited in the field of Korean studies and Korean sociology. So you will see soon how influential his books and articles are, hopefully from next year. Okay,
Thank you.
Professor Han, can you explain a little bit more your field?
Okay, yes. Thank you. Actually, I'm a historian by training, and I specialized in things Japan. So I'm a Japan specialist. But my recent research has been proceeded toward Japan-Korea relations since I came back to Korea. This is also a time of shameless self-promotion. So I like to advertise in advance. My book will come out soon. It's not yet there, but I'm excited to share this information. Anyway, so I teach Japanese society and culture, Japan-Korea relations, and recently I tried to situate the Japan-Korea relation within the context of decolonizing, hopefully decolonizing world. So that's where I am at the moment. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Professor Han. Okay, so let's have your Q&A session now. So just ask us any questions you want to share or you are curious about. And it's okay to ask in Korean.
네, 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
저는 한국 사람이 아니라서 가지고 제가 영어를 하겠습니다.
네.
Yes, I am interested in the East Asian studies area of studies. So I would like to know which courses would be better to take for the complete course if I were to want to have the thesis track, for example. Which courses would you recommend to have in the East Asian studies area?
Okay, so courses. Okay, I will open our homepage and share it. So can you just wait for a second?
Way to answer to your question. You know, when you think about the East Asia, and while you're in Korea, you can avoid learning about Korean. So obviously, Professor Kim's course could be one, and sometimes I offer Japan-Korea relation, as I mentioned. But if you want, I don't know, within the East Asia, what your specific interest, I'm sure you will develop once you start to study with us. Then Japan, you cannot miss Japan either. So you can take some of these courses, and I think they are counted as, or Korean studies classes are also counted as area studies as well.
Okay, thank you, Professor Han, to add the information. So this is our website from GSIS. And then here, I'm open the list of the class for the MA programs of area studies. And as you can see, there are lots of courses covering East Asia and Southeast Asia, and also Europe. So and Japan, okay, East Asia, right? And China, and a little bit course in Africa. So basically, I mean, we cover global world, and then you can choose your area, and then once you decide your area focus, and then these are the options you can take. And then we have several essential courses, I guess, let me check. So basically, we have the requirements, but there's not that many. And once you finish your small requirement, then yes, you can choose other courses. And also you can choose courses from other major. So basically we have no strong barrier across the, in terms of the course selection. So let's say if you want to focus on the East Asian cases, then you want to study more in the economic topics in East Asia, then you can choose courses from international development, corporations, or peace and security. And I think there might be some more detailed explanations on each course somewhere in our homepage. Yes, Alexandra?
Hi, I hope you guys are all doing well today. I have a quick question about the SOP specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So it was mentioned in the PowerPoint that we should be, more specific and not mention things that are obviously stated in other parts of our documents that we were submitting. How specific would you like us to be in terms of our study plan? So should we include what specific courses we are meaning to take each semester?
I felt I would just be an observant from this point on. But if I may say this, maybe Professor Han overemphasized the importance of SOP. At least from my personal perspective, I think if the student or applicant has other credentials, meaning like above average GPA, good command of English, I think that would sort of carry you far. I mean, that does not guarantee you an admission, but I think in terms of the weight, I think SOP is important, but it's not the most important aspect of your application. So, I mean, if you just write what comes to your mind and just be mindful of the points made by Professor Han, I think you'll do fine.
Just in defense of myself, I add a little bit of information. We don't expect you to have a specific ideas of a specific topic. That's why you come us to learn, right? You want to learn, so
right.
You don't really need to identify. I would like to work with this really topic, but you don't have to go that deep. But as Professor Kim said. Top of that, still we want to know what area of research field you'd be interested. So, okay, that's what I was trying to say. And Professor Park, maybe?
Yes, personally, I think I look at the SOP in the sense of to identify where these applicants have interesting research questions or not. And then the reason I put some emphasis on research question is to know whether these students will be happier here in the KGIS. Because I mean, we try to, provide good education to you, but if you feel this topic is not your thing, then you are the one who are not satisfied in here, right? So I want to know whether the students fit with our program. And then that's why I look at the research question, not the answer, because you don't have answer yet, right? And that's why you come here, as Professor Han said. So, so my personal advice is that in your SOP, just think deep why you want to study and why you want to study these topics or this field, and just explain the interesting questions you have in your mind, which you want to learn more with us. Then that's pretty much okay to me.
Okay, thank you. I hope to join you guys again next semester. I was a study abroad student 2 years ago, and Professor Kim was actually one of my professors while I was there. So I hope I can return.
네, 안녕하세요. 저는 한국 사람이고요.
아, 네.
이름은 지금 이렇게 돼 있었는데, 네, 그래서 그냥 한국어로 질문 좀 드리겠습니다. 저는 지금 동남아시아 쪽 지역학을 생각하고 지금 지원을 준비하고 있는데요. 일단 동남아시아 쪽에 그 개설 과목이 좀 어느 정도 많이 되어 있는지가 궁금하고, 그리고 제가 관심 있는 부분이 이제 그 동남아시아 지역과의 경제협력 부분이라서, 보니까 지금 국제대학원 밑에 이제 지역학이 있기 때문에 다른 그 국제개발 쪽도 같은 대학원 내에 지금 수업들이 다 개설이 되고 있는 것 같아요. 그래서 지역학으로 들어가서 공부를 하더라도 좀 그런 국제개발 쪽의 개설 과목들도 같이 수강을 할 수 있는지, 비중은 어느 정도 되는지가 좀 궁금합니다.
감사합니다. 일단 행정적인 부분들은 저희 이제 행정팀에서 더 이제 자세히 물어보시면 되지만, 기본적으로는 제가 이해하는 한은 저희가 그게 배리어가 되게 강하게 있지 않거든요. 그래서 지역학으로 석사학위가 나간다고 해도 국제개발 협력 수업들을 충분히 다 들으실 수 있고요. 그리고 저희가 특히 이제 저희 지역학에 있는 저희 이 세 교수님들은 다 이제 한국, 일본 이렇게 동아시아가 포커스이긴 하지만, 저희 경제 전공하신, 통상 전공하시는 분들은 동남아를 되게 많이 하세요. 그래서 아마 생각하시는 그런 아이디어에 맞는 수업들을 되게 많이 찾으실 수 있을 거라고 생각을 합니다. 맞나요, 한 교수님?
네네. 아니, 추가로 잘 설명해 주셨는데, 추가로 저도 부원장 한 지 얼마 안 돼서 최근에 배운 건데, 입학할 때 이제 아마 입시 할 때 나는 예를 들면 지역학으로 하겠다라고 이제 하는데, 그것은 임시적인 것 같아요. 그냥 일단 지원을, 그리고 사실은 지역인지 예를 들면은 지역 동남아를 하다가 정말 더 나는 포커스를 개발에다 하겠다 그러면 그 3학기째에 개발을 이제 선택을 해서, 그래서 필드를 마지막으로 최종적으로 선택하는 것은 3학기째라고 하더라고요. 그래서 특히 이제 논문 출액이든지 이제 나은시시스로 할 때 지도 교수가 있어야 되니까는 그래서 박 교수님도 말씀하신 것처럼 굉장히 이게 플렉서블하고, 저도 설명한 것처럼 curate your own 코스라서, 그래서 지역학으로 들어오셔서 예를 들면 개발 쪽 동남아 이제 경제라든지 개발에 관심이 있어서 그쪽으로 이제 깊게 파다가 시시스 출액으로 간다고 하면 경제 쪽이라든지 아니면 경제 쪽을 하시는 분을 지도 교수를 하시게 된다고 하면, 그때 3학기 때 지도 교수님과 상의를 해서 전국 국제 개발로 이렇게 해서 나가실 수도 있고, 아니면은 그냥 계속 특별히 지도 교수님이 노하지 않는 이상은 에리아 스터디스로 이제 본인 생각에 추후에 졸업 후에 에리아 스터디스 전공자가 본인이 활동하는데 유리해 보인다 그러면은 에리아 스터디스로 이제 학위를 나갈 때 가로치고 국제학 가로치고 이제 지역학 전공 이렇게 나가는 걸로 이제 알고 있습니다. 그래서 다시 들어가면 어떤 트랙을 바꾸는 것 때문에 디스어드밴티지가 있는 것도 아니고, 다 본인이 졸업 후에 생각하는 커리어하고 관련해서 최대한 유리한 쪽으로 이렇게 좀 나가는 쪽으로 이렇게 저는 이해하고 있습니다.
네, 설명 감사합니다. 많은 도움 되었습니다.
네, 감사합니다. 저희 행정실 선생님께서 여기 채팅으로 메시지 주셨는데요. 입학 지원 시에는 희망 전공만 선택하는 거고 실제 전공 선택은 3학기 초에 한다고 하네요. 그래서 아까 한정선 부학장님께서 말씀해 주신 것처럼 제가 이렇게 제도를 만든 이제 취지 자체가 그러니까 논문을 마지막으로 쓸 단계에 왔을 때 학생들에게 가장 필요한 전공 이름이 무엇일지를 이렇게 충분히 이해하고 알고 난 다음에 정할 수 있게 시간을 많이 드리는 게 제도적 목적이라서 네, 충분히 유연하게 하실 수 있으십니다. 그리고 네. Okay, so let's move on to other questions. I got the chat message from Leah. Lee. Okay. So the question is, are there any preference restriction concerning the kind of bachelor we complete before? No. I definitely can say no. We don't have any restrictions or preferences. And I completed double bachelor English American Literature, French comparative literature, despite my interest in Korean history. I never studied in university. Actually, no problems. And I prefer students who have various background in academic background. Personally, my major based on comparative political science, simply meaning they compare countries with other countries. So I personally believe that the area studies and Korean studies can get a lot of implications and interesting questions by comparing the Korea or East Asia with other countries and other regions. So your background, like English, culture, French, comparative literature, sounds really interesting to me. So don't worry about that barrier. If you are interested in area studies, studying GSIS in Korea, then you are more than welcome. Okay, so any other one who want to share your ideas or questions? Yes, Nadia, am I correct? Nadia?
Yes, hi, my name is Nadia, thank you. I'm just wondering if I can ask a technical kind of logistic question right now regarding the application documents, or if I should ask that later.
You can do it. I mean, if we have an answer, then we can share with you.
Okay, thank you. So I saw that some students, international students, have to provide a release of student information form. And so I actually went to 2 universities and I graduated from one. I transferred from the first one to the second one and I graduated to the second one. So I was wondering if I would need to provide 2 release of information forms or just one from the school that I graduated from.
Not sure of the process, but it sounds reasonable that you are okay to submit your latest degree. It's better to ask the admin office for sure.
I know that I already asked, but is it okay if I ask something again?
Sure.
감사합니다. A thing that is very particular to me is that I have already a degree in English and translation, and I am finishing my studies in my bachelor degree in international affairs. And honestly, in my English and translation bachelor degree, I have a perfect GPA. And in the international affairs degree, I have, in Panama, we don't have a GPA of 4.0. Our GPA is 3.0. So I have a 2.79, which would be like a 3.6 GPA, probably in Korea. would you recommend, if it's in your knowledge, would you recommend that I apply to KU for the master's degree program from my English degree or from my international affairs degree?
So, so based on the newest knowledge I've learned from the staff, you should submit both degrees, right?
Okay, so both degrees should be submitted. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. That is actually great. Thank you.
Yes, and your GPA is really good.
감사합니다. 저 열심히 하겠습니다.
Okay, good. So, Agnes or Widodo, can you have any things to share or to ask? Oh, okay. So, Widodo cannot use microphone now. So, I want to ask regarding administrative issue for graduate certificate or transcript. Is it necessary to get a postal document for it? Oh, okay. I don't know. So let me ask this one to the staff. And lastly, Agnes said she can talk either. Oh, it's AM in your house, so early. She has no questions. Okay, thank you for being here at this early time in your reasons. Okay, so I guess we are all done, but still it's okay to ask more questions before we end up this session.
Oh, sorry that I asked so much.
No.
I am another question. If let's say that I try to apply due to the Korean government scholarship, do I have to apply a semester prior or a year prior to the KU?
I know it as one prior semester.
Okay, one prior semester.
Yeah,
okay, because I know that the process is I need to be accepted by the Korean government scholarship and then the university. So I'll still message the office because I have the email too, but I just wanted to know if you knew already. Thank you.
But the reason I know it because I got the document one semester before the student's entrance. So I don't know if the process start earlier in terms of the government screening process.
네, 알겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
So good. Oh, okay. Good to see you here again today. And then if you have more questions later or any other concerns later, just email us to our staff member or any of our faculties here. You can find our email address through the GSIS homepage. So send us an email anytime you want regarding the administrations or regarding your academic interest. Okay, so 한 교수님 마지막으로.
아니 저 더 할 얘기 없습니다. if you don't have any burning question right now, maybe it's a good time to stop. I guess we don't want, for us, I don't want to shorten your lunch time. Other professors. But thank you for joining us today. And as I said, we really look forward to seeing you in the very near future. Thank you.